So guys, in this video I will be talking about the HTML basics. So this HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and remember, this is not any programming language because it is a formatting or representation language of how you represent the text and the other elements in the browser. So I had this google.com website, and this is the page I got from the google.com server. So this is the search bar, and you can click here are the links, and you can see there is a title Google. And if you want to see the source code of this HTML, you want to press Ctrl U. So as you can see, this is HTML. You can see this is the HTML tag. So in HTML, if you want to represent some content like in a format, you need to embed that content in these HTML tags. You can see doc type HTML, and you can see there is a lot of complex code going on there. I think it's almost JavaScript and some CSS and HTML. So if you scroll down, you can see the script is ending and the body and HTML. So this is advanced code written by Google. Maybe, who knows, they may have some information gathering or like spying tools. Okay, I don't know. I just want you to show that this is the like format of this HTML. Now we will be seeing the basic tags and some basics of HTML. I'm not going to show you every tag in HTML because it's not necessary, and also this is not a web development course. That's why I will show you the basics of HTML tags. So I'm using this Visual Studio Code, and you can download any text editor you like Sublime or Atom. So Visual Studio Code is some less resource consumption. That's why I'm using Visual Studio Code. So let's create a new file. You can also write the HTML code in any notepad, also in plain notepad or any text editor. So first I'm going to save this. So in desktop, choose the all files. Now what you want to do is you want to say index.html. So this index.html will be the default home page for your server. If I say this one 127.0.0.1, which is my local host, so it says the site can't be reached because there is no service running. And if I say index.html, if there is any index.html, then that HTML will be displayed here. So index.html will be the home page of default website. So first I will show you the syntax of the tags. So first tag name, what you want to how do you want to format the text in these tags. And next one is attribute. So the tag name, and then if you hit the greater than symbol, then this closing tag automatically will be generated by Visual Studio Code. So this first tag name is called opening tag, and this slash tag name is called closing tag. You need to also put this less than and greater than at the end of the tags. So this is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. So you can also give some attribute values to these tags. So attribute is equals to some value. So this is the general syntax of this tag, and here in this tag the text goes Nikhil is good boy. Okay, sorry, I'm just typing with one hand and holding mic with another hand. So this is the tag name and the attribute value. This is not compulsory attribute and values. You can specify the attribute and values, but not necessary. And this is the text inside this tag. So let's go and see an example. So before writing any text, let me show you. Let me say hello world and save it. So where is my, so this is my index.html. I am going to open with browser. In the browser, on seeing this hello world, it will interpret as a normal plain text, and it will show you the hello world. Yes. Okay. Now in the olden browsers, if you type hello world, it will not interpret in the browser, but latest browsers uh, uh, so in latest browsers hello world will interpret as a text. Now I want to discuss the HTML structure. So every HTML file should define some structure. So first one is HTML tag, opening tag, and HTML closing tag. So in that HTML tag you need to have a head tag, and inside the head tag you need to have the title tag. Okay, I will discuss everything within few minutes. So after the head tag you need to contain the actual body of the your HTML. So this is the structure of HTML. First is HTML. Everything should be in the HTML tags, and inside HTML you can have the two parts, head and head tags. You can also have script tag, but we will cover the JavaScript in the next videos. So inside the head tag you can keep the title, and inside the body you can actually write the content you want to write. So this title is this one. So defaultly the tabs this title shows us the index.html. If you want to change that to, you can interpret like this. So you want to say okay, welcome to my course. So if I write like this inside the title tags, now I want to refresh this HTML page. So it says welcome to my course, and to see the source code of this HTML you need to press Ctrl U, or you can right click and view page source. So you can see the exact code here because that's been loaded into the browser and interpreted by the browser. As you can see the title, welcome to my course. Okay, so that is about the title, that what you write in the title tag will be showed up in the title of the web browser tab. Now let's write some body. In body you need to write the actual content you want to write. The first tag I want to show is h1 tag. H1 stands for heading. So h1 is the highest preference, and the text inside it will represent as a main heading. Or let's say h1 tag has today news. So if I want to refresh this page, and you can see this is today news is like very big big text, and also it's in like dark format, and this is like heading of the paragraph, right? This is called heading 1. In the same way we have 6 types of these headings: h2, h3, h4, h5 and h6. So let me copy this. Okay, let me copy this and just paste it 6 times. And the ending tag name and the closing tag name should be same, otherwise you get some errors or the content cannot be loaded. h3, and let me say h4 and h5 and h6. So one thing about this Visual Studio Code is you need to save the HTML file manually by pressing the Ctrl S. But if you go to the file and you need to check this auto save, the file will be automatically saved the next second you made the changes. So that's one good feature about this Visual Studio Code. In other text editors you can just add an extension auto save. So I want to so if I refresh this page, you can see the first heading 1 tag, the text inside the h1 tag is very big, and inside the h2 is somewhat smaller, and in h3, h4, h5, h6 are smaller than previous ones. So you can see h6 is very like miniature in size. You cannot see unless you can zoom it, but we will use the mainly h3 tags mainly. And there is another tag called paragraph tag, which p indicates this paragraph, and the text inside this p tag will interpret as a normal paragraph. So let's say this is a sample paragraph, and if I refresh this page, so it says this is the sample paragraph. So every time you need to refresh this HTML page, but there is a extension called live server, but I just forgot the actual name. Okay, if you install that, this HTML file will be hosted in a live server, and then if you modify any this HTML content, that server will be automatically refreshed. So you no need to manually refresh this page. So the extension is a live server, but I'm not going to install it now. So this is the paragraph tag, and the next tag I want to show is link tag. I means there will be a link, and if you click that, a new website will be open. So that is the anchor tag. If you say anchor tag, and if you want to say click, so that's how you create the link, but there is no link here. You need to add the link. So for that you need to give the attribute name for the anchor tag, which is href, which stands for hyperlink reference. So let's say https google.com, and then you can see there is a link now. Previous it's only text. Now if I click on this link, I will be redirected to google.com. So you can also make sure that the on clicking it will open in a new window. For that you need to say target is equals to underscore blank. It will open, it will create a new blank window, and this link will redirect to this link upon clicking. So if I refresh this, if I click now, a google.com website will open in a new tab. So in the previous case, our index.html has been overridden. So this is about the a tag, and you can also put the images in the HTML. Image src is equals to, and the file path of the image you need to give. Let me choose a image. So what you want to do is you need to copy the image into the directory the HTML file is. So since our HTML file is in index.html, you need to paste it in here. So I want to say just life is strange.jpg. You can see the Visual Studio Code is already telling that there is a life is strange.jpg with this starting as life. So if I click on this, it will automatically fulfills our form. So this image tag is only single tag. That means there is no closing tag for this. Now if I refresh this one, you can see there is a large image. Generally it's a bad idea to put odd images in the same location of the index.html. What generally people will do is will create a new folder, say images, and then they will keep all images in that images folder. It will be like a neatly organizing way. So next I'm going to tell is this lists. You can create a list like ordered list in the sense it will be in the numbered order. What you want to do is you want to say OL stands for ordered list, and you can just say list element, say list, and I want to say vanilla, and I am going to create a new element and list and say chocolate. Now if I refresh this page, you can see down here vanilla and chocolate. Okay, let's remove this image because it's so big. Now I can put the comments. Now the comments in the HTML is starts with less than and exclamation mark hyphen. So you can see this is the opening comment and this is the closing comment. So what you put in here in between these will be treated as comment. and I am going to put this image in this comment. So it's like getting rid of that image. Now if I refresh this, I won't see my image because this image tag is considered as a comment. So one more thing I want to show you is, if you click on this, click on inspect, or you can press the F12 button in the keyboard, you can see there are some elements over here. These are nothing but our HTML elements. You can see the HTML defines the full body. If you hover on HTML, it will show the blue color in all over the body. If you type only head, if you type the status, okay, title, I think it won't highlight this. Welcome to my course. Okay, let's click on this body and it will show you the body, and this blue color region is where our text starts. This orange color is like margin, and H1 tag today's news. And if you click on this H1 tag, you can see bottom here the CSS of this H1 tag. So by default, these HTML developers made that the font size of this is 2 em. So em is the measurement for these fonts, and like pixels for the image, and the 2em is very big one. That's why H1 has the biggest font size. If you click on H2, you can see the size is decreasing. Font size is equals to 1.5 em. If you click on H3, it's 1.17, and H4 it's 1.33. So it's like very, they have defined the default font sizes for all these H1, H2 to up to 7 up to H6. So we can override these CSS default values by specifying our own CSS values. So we will do that in CSS video. So I'm just closing this one, and one more thing you can do is you can click on this select an element. So that's why you can manually move over these elements. I can select one element, and it will, the corresponding HTML code for that element will be displayed here. So that's one use for these elements. You can just navigate all through these elements. What are this? You can see the HTML comments also in this elements. It's like reviewing the source code and navigating through the elements of our source code. So you can also create the unordered list. So if I say list, so I'm going to take almost similar examples. So you can see the unordered list contains just the dot. In the ordered list we have the numbered sequence, and these are the some of the basics of the HTML. And I want to show you another tag called iframe. This iframe puts another HTML source code in our HTML file. So this is one HTML file. If you want to place the output or the contents of another HTML file, you can use the iframe. So iframe src is equals to some test.html. So you can also specify the, so this item, the specified test.html is not available. So okay, let's make this test.html. Let's copy the same index.html to this, and let's remove this iframe. Okay, now let's refresh this index.html. As you can see, the whole this same index.html has been embedded in this iframe. So we can see the output of another HTML in this iframe. So this iframe technique, we should be very careful in using HTML, because it will be prone to the clickjacking attacks. That means some other, if there is a button like click me, like login, or some other button, Then if the server allows the click jacking or it has iframe options, then what attacker does is he will put the iframe at here to another resource like YouTube channel subscribe, and then he will do the invisible iframe with size 0 and 0. And if you normally log in into your page, it's okay, but if you click on the button, then at a time you will perform the action, and also at the same time the code at that button within that test.html will get executed. Like, okay, we will see that in the click jacking methods. So the basics of iframe is you can embed other HTML code in this HTML. So I'm just removing this iframe for now. Now I want to show you another tag called form tag. This is like filling up the forms. You need to say action is equals to, you need to specify the PHP file to send these parameters to. Let's say test1.php. Now we need to say login form. We need to create the login form. For that we'll say username, and we need to say the input. The input tag defines the text box with the input option. Say type is equals to text, and you need to give the name of this text box so that we can refer in the server side. Say username. So this input tag is also a single tag. And let's say next one is password. Now instead of text I can type the password, so that whatever I type in that box, it will be displayed as dots, not as plain text. Now I want to create a button which says input type is equals to submit. So if I refresh this, you can see there is a username, and we can just enter some values and the password, and click on this submit. The name we had this submit will be displayed on this button. So as you can see, the username, password and submit button. So there is no line break or something like new line after this username. So to introduce that, there is a tag called break tag. This break tag is also creates a line break, and I will show you the output, and you can see there is a line break after the username. So let's put another line break so that it will be in a neat format. So this is the username. Let's also put these two breaks after this password. So if I refresh this HTML page, I can get a neat username and a password and submit button. Now I can enter the password. So if I click on submit, then it will say your file was not found, because this username is equals to this one and the password is equals to this one will be submitted as a parameters. So we have mentioned that action is equal to test1.php, right? So whenever you click the submit button, these contents in the fields will get carried as a pair, like username is equals to your submitted data and the password is equals to your submitted data. So how you got this username and the password means we have specified the name of this input box as a username. So that's why you can access this username and the password values in the test.php using this username and the password. So on submission, the PHP file in the server side will get these values of username and password, and you can just check for the login credentials. So there is no backend for this HTML code, because this is very sample HTML code. So I think that's all I covered about this HTML basics. You have learned the title and the heading tags, paragraph tags, links, lists, and the form tag, and we also learned about the iframe. So this is like basics of HTML. If you Google about this HTML, you get lot of content and lot of tags, but since this is not a web development class, I did not show you all the tags, but I just showed you the basics. So these are good enough to know about from pen testing or security point of view. So that's all about this video. That's all about this HTML basics.